now playing into the hands of a PDP deputy Senate president, I mean, that has capacity to either say this man is not qualified or not. Again, with an ethics committee that is headed by a PDP senator that is supposed to report to submit a report to a deputy Senate president who is PDP, screening a PDP man that, I mean, an APC man that was a PDP person. You can almost predict the result. So they ran away from. I mean, they had to walk away from that scenario. It's a booby trap, kind of.
How soon do you think this can be managed? I mean, this can continue? Because if you look at it now, some are already thinking that if only the APC had been able to manage the situation perfectly or close to being perfect in managing that particular situation in the Senate, perhaps by now would have been seeing some PDP members crossing the carpet.
Well, it's a self-inflicted injury. APC shot themselves in the foot with regards to all the trouble that is being generated today is APC generated. So they have not gotten their ass right. And you see, that's part of why I'm even uncomfortable discussing these distractions. I call them distractions in the sense that I ordinarily thought that by now we would have gotten into main governance. The main governance is such that it is bad enough that the list of ministerial nominees came late. It almost came out of time because President Buhari had promised that by September that he would constitute his cabinet. But he submitted the list at the close of business of the last day of September. That suggests that the screening is now taking place, will not take place in October. And today is 22nd or thereabout of UK. We're still talking about screening of ministerial nominees. And from the newspaper report we get, it's going to take them 6 weeks to do that. In other words, the cabinet can only be in place about November or December.
Why is it going to take them 6 weeks? Are we not asking questions?
Well, we do not know, but with all these distractions,
shouldn't we question?
No, we should. We should. That is our right to question. But again, they will also say they are taking their time. There's always a rationalization for everything. You notice that two days ago, there were about 3 other papers in the Senate. The first one contained Amechi's name. The other one removed it. Then the third one now had 3 nominees, out of which they screened 2. What was the rationalization? That Nigerians are protesting that they were too fast, and that they are now trying to take their time. So that could be the reason too.
Are you aware of that protest?
I do not know where they got it from. But then they are now, when it is convenient for us, we take examples.
Opinion.
No, sure.
The court of public opinion.
Probably. So when it's convenient for us, we take examples from the US. Oh no, in the United States, that at times it takes about 2 weeks or thereabout. I don't know where they got that information again from. That it takes about 2 weeks to screen a particular disease to make sure that we are sure of who he is and all of that. So that may explain the 6 weeks.
So can we then tie that? I mean, when they say it's going to take 6 weeks,
yes,
and you say you don't know why it's taking 6 weeks. I mean, I'm sure quite a number of people will question why it's taking 6 weeks.
Yeah, sure.
And we also know that there's a judicial process ongoing.
But all of this mix kind of will elongate it. And if, for instance, you go to ask the senators now why it's going to take them that length of time, they probably, in short, you noticed that 2 days ago when you were asking Dino Milaya about why they had to adjourn, so suddenly, so suddenly, and then why they cannot sit the following day and all of that, he said he did not know. I'm talking about the spokesman of the Senate says he did not know. In short, when you people got him on the line, we were all happy that okay, we should be able to now get information with regard to all of these things.
But do we now know the reason?
He ended up not telling you anything.
No, but do we now know the reason?
So that the point I'm making to you now.
I'm asking. No? Mr. Ike, do we now know the reason? Well, we see 81 senators.
80 senators. You have almost answered the question you're asking me.
Yeah.
You cannot know why the Senate adjourned. 80 senators needed to be behind their principal officer.
Is this something that we should protest?
Well, politically, you should not, because they are also trying to make a statement across the fence.
Politically, we should.
To the other people that, please, don't try this man because we are behind him.
What I'm saying is,
and they are comfortable with what they have done.
just a moment. We're complaining that governance is slow. By now, cabinet ought to have been constituted. The list came late. The senators have been doing their job as they should. Now they say the process is going to take 6 weeks for the rest of the ministerial. I think about 16 or 18 of them left. About half of the same figure that have been done in how many days? Now they're saying it's going to take 6 weeks to screen that same number of people. We also know that this is not going to be, the Senate President might need to appear at the Code of Conduct Tribunal, perhaps the appeal court. Is this something we're going to be seeing a lot more often, that every time business of the day will be stalled because the senators need to accompany the Senate President there?
Well, I envisaged it. If I tell you that I didn't envisage this, I knew that this court process, the CCT issue, is going to stall or at least slow down the business of the Senate. Because first and foremost, if the Senate President must go to court, and that day I talked about shuttling between the chambers and the court. It means that the business of the Senate must go slowly, in deference to the fact that the principal officer is in court.
Slowly, but not stop.
No, slowly may well be that in 3 days, which they normally sit in a week, they sit only 2 days.
The other things that happened yesterday, can we consider them as indications that the government is also moving and ensuring that governance go on? They've appointed new INEC chair, new head of service, and then looking to ensure that things go on as well.
Chamberlain, let me tell you my opinion, and I'm making this opinion not just as a PDP person, but as a Nigerian that is concerned. This government is slow, is annoyingly slow. The fact that these appointments are coming now, they could have come earlier. We as lawyers, we have been shouting to the rooftops that this INEC, as presently constituted, cannot validly conduct the election. That as a matter of fact, they were trying to make money for us as lawyers, because if, for instance, the acting chairman ended up conducting this election at that point as constituted at that point in time, the whole thing would have just come to a nullity. Indeed, it takes anybody who ordinarily should have lost to now go to court, and it will be quashed, because there was no INEC as at that point in time. But put that aside. If, for instance, it has taken the president, and my own calculation is seven months. You people keep talking about when he was sworn in. It has taken, the president has been both president-elect and elected president for 7 months, 7 solid months. And we are, supporters of APC are saying, no, he's taking his time. In short, one of your guests about 2 weeks ago said he was diagnosing the ministerial nominees. I didn't know what was there to diagnose. If at the end of the day, after wasting our time, I use that word very emphatically and advisedly, that wasting our time for 5 solid months, what we got, I'm not bothered about the quality of the persons, because I can talk about that later. We got an Amechi. Amechi was his director general. You didn't need to look for him for too long to find him. It's not like Amechi needed to resign his job somewhere and give two months notice before he can join him. He was just there for peaks. The person he's looking for is Onu. Onu was his chairman of ANPP that gave him a ticket to contest a presidential election before then. He's not like he needs to look at his character again and all of that. He probably picks a Fashola. Fashola is the person that all Nigerians have been begging him to take, including me. Even when he was governor here, you notice that I said so. Who are you talking about? Or is it the gentleman that came from Shitu? Shitu has been with him as long as Buhari has been in politics, and other people. These are people that are there. So why does it take him why did it take him that much? 5 solid months to look for people who are not, are we talking about Fahim? Fahim never moved 10 meters away from him, either during the campaign or any time. So why did he have to? You see, we as much, some of us as politicians, I think we are now doing Nollywood to put Nigerians in a suspense and then drop them, kind of. Because Nollywood is a very viable industry, so we are also acting Nollywood. Why that suspense? We don't need that suspense. So, okay, have you asked yourself questions about the advisors that were approved for the president by the 7th Senate? I think about 18 or so, I can't remember has he filled those positions? So how come he is working alone? Working alone only for us to now begin to constitute a cabinet now? No, the cabinet can only be constituted even in November. And you can see some apologists say that, he's still taking his time. And I said, seven months was what it took Murtala Mohammed to write his name in gold in this place. And until now, we have not gotten results. Okay,
I'm sure your point. They're noting some of those to ensure that they do what they have to do. But thank you very much indeed for coming on, Mr. George, aka is a legal practitioner and a member of the PDP. Well, we'll be back in just a moment. Join us again.